Live. We're live.
Are we good on the video too? Is everything good?
Okay,
I think we're
guys.
good.
Video, audio good?
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome you to the very first NFT Crypto Crew podcast.
All right.
I'm here in studio with Tyler and our
Welcome.
DJ Mixmaster Mike here. I'm Gig, your host for the day. And we're bringing you some information on a very, very interesting NFT project that I decided to take a deep dive into.
Okay. I like, and this, you're taking us on a little journey.
I'm going to take you on a little
today.
journey, nothing too crazy, but a little journey into the Galactic Gecko Space Garage, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay. Mikey, have you heard about this project?
Mike, you want to
Well,
lower the music a little bit?
It's just a tad
It never lowered from the intro. It's just like it's still going.
Mike's just like, yeah. Okay. All right.
Guys, if you couldn't tell, I'm big into Solana, and I've really been getting more and more affiliated with the Solana NFT Marketplace. And my personal favorite project on there is the Galactic Gecko Space Garage, guys. If it wasn't obvious. It wasn't obvious already.
I mean, you have a gecko behind you.
Yeah.
We have the Gecko.
That's a neon 480 Gek.
Neon 480. See, we're not new to this. Guys.
All right. So what are you gonna walk us through today? What's gonna happen?
So I'm going to start off by just giving you a little brief overview of what the project is and how myself and others got into this project and initially invested into the project.
So when did this project even launch? I can't even remember.
So it's launched a little over 2 months ago.
Is that,
I think September 21st, give or take.
Really? I
Yeah,
thought it was in August.
No, I think it
before
was September. It was
Okay.
late September. It seems, NFT land.
that. I remember they were up
Moves
at
a little
point, and maybe I'm skipping ahead, but I remember the floor was high at some point and went down and then skyrocketed back again. And
Yeah, it had a very big, very, very big parabolic, many would say, launch for the first day into the few weeks. But this project is basically an NFT social adventure where your investment into the project is an NFT in the form of a gecko.
Yeah, well,
Similar to this guy we see sitting here,
it's a good gecko.
wiggling his eyes.
Yeah.
This guy already made it to the garage, it looks like.
The only thing I have to say is I think that you have JPEGs as NFTs, right?
Yeah,
I'm
that's
a little
correct.
disappointed that they're not GIFs like this guy.
That would
Well,
be very sick if they had the GIF geckos.
Yeah, GIF
the GIF
gecs.
hashtag GIF geck.
That's got to be the next airdrop.
Draper,
GIF gec.
Draper, if you're listening, we need a GIF geck. Yeah. So essentially, if you're not familiar with minting already, you would essentially connect to the Galactic Gecko website.
And this is when you're saying minting, like this is the first time,
This
like when the
is-
project launches.
Yeah,
you
this
gotta
is
get-
this is launch.
So there's
day.
no more gifts anymore. Sorry, gifts. There's no more mints anymore. With this.
No, there's only one mint process. So I actually found out about this project from a buddy in Discord.
Yeah.
He sent he had been chatting about some NFT projects, and he sent this one into the Discord, and I wanted to get my feet wet. So my buddy throws it in there. He says, "Hey, mint at 5 p.m. Eastern time today.
Okay.
It's gonna sell out fast." I said, "Sounds pretty valuable to me. If it's gonna sell out quick."
Well, when you say that, how do you? I guess, and maybe this is out of scope for you, but quickly, can you tell me how do you know when a project is going to be successful like that, where it's going to sell out?
Well, you
Because some of them don't sell out, right? Like that's the idea.
You don't know if it's going to sell out. It really depends. There's a few factors. It depends on the market conditions. It depends on the hype around the project. It depends on how Bitcoin's doing. If Bitcoin's really pumping, a lot of people are going to flood money into there and not throw it into NFT projects as much.
Okay.
So it really depends on a few factors. If it's a good-looking project with good art and a good community and a good following, there's a good chance it'll sell out. It may not sell out immediately, but it will sell out. For example, the Gecko sold out in about 7 minutes, I believe.
Okay, so that's really quick.
That's fairly quick for 10,000 mints. I've seen some some can go in seconds, but a more smooth mint. This was a very smooth and successful mint in my opinion because it sold out. You had enough time to mint multiple geckos if you wanted, and it also sold out pretty quickly. So
you didn't have enough time. Yeah,
you have enough time, but you know there's demand. You know it's going to sell out.
Yeah,
because there's demand, but you also have a little bit of time to mint a few if you want.
Okay, and this is not something like, I guess you said the reason that it was a good project was the community. So it was the community, the following of the project, and the art.
Yeah, well, and I learned that after mint. I kind of just minted because the project looked cool, the art looked cool. I trusted my buddy who sent me the link to the mint.
That's a good point. I mean, it's not only the community and stuff. It's you as someone who's maybe doing this for the first time, or they're just looking at the art. And
exactly.
And if they have someone introduce it to them, it's almost word of mouth-esque because it is.
Yeah, it's very word of mouth because how else would I have found out about this project? It's kind of under the radar. You know, you have to be active in Solana.
Yeah.
Community. You have to be active in NFTs.
Yeah.
And that's really the best way to find out about these projects because you can go hunt and peck for projects, but how are you going to find out, you know?
You got to spend time doing your research and see what's hot not right now, or at least have an idea on how this project is going to be performing in the future.
Yeah, you have to do your research and be active in certain communities because it's really a lot of word of mouth, you know.
By communities, you mean what, like Twitter, Discord, all the above? Like what?
Yeah, exactly. What are pretty hot right now in the NFT market is Twitter,
Instagram as well.
Instagram has some good NFT stuff.
Instagram has NFT stuff? I've only done Twitter and Discord, which is why I kind of brought the question.
TikTok, I would say, because sometimes
TikTok.
TikTok, because sometimes people from TikTok post content on Instagram. Just download the video and post it in the social account.
Yeah, I mean, if you're on any major social media platform, you can find NFT content. I would say two big ones are Twitter and Discord.
Okay.
For example, if you are investing in the Galactic Geckos, you essentially have to be in their Discord to keep up with what's going on in the project because that's where they'll tell you relevant information, announcements, and also
drops,
airdrops, lore, and the community itself will be active in the Discord.
Okay.
Is where you will get the hot content.
Yeah, which is where right after mint, I jumped in the Discord and followed their Twitter, and that's where I got relevant information. Not only about the project, but about other projects because there's multiple channels in the Discord.
Well, I was going to bring that up. Is I'm only really a part of one or two NFTs myself, and I just kind of went into it because you got me into the idea, and I looked at it, and it's been a process to get up to date on this information. Like it is you have to take a significant chunk of your time to read these Discords and Twitter and it's like a lot of it is kind of noise in my opinion in terms of like updates for the project.
Yeah.
But then again, it is, the community interacting. But I feel like I'm just constantly trying to read up on what's going on next, and it's difficult to keep up. It seems to me like it's a very big process to really stay in tune and in touch about what's going on. Would you say, how do you do that?
I'm very active. Like you said, it is a process to stay up to date. I'm personally very active because I want daily updates. I want to be in touch with people who work in the project, developers of the project, big names in the project, big investors in the project. So I kind of want a daily update on what's going on in the Gecko community.
And so you do that by Twitter, Discord, both, and
so
Instagram. Do you what do you specifically? What do you?
So I'll follow a lot of other geckos on Twitter. When I say geckos, I mean people who are invested in the project.
Okay.
You can easily tell because their profile pic on Twitter if you see a profile pic on Twitter that's a gecko, I'll go and follow them. because generally they'll be a big gecko guy.
I forget the name of him on Twitter, but he was an absolute artist. The way he said it, he painted the picture. It was, I'm a simple man. When I see a geck, I will follow it. That's it.
And when you see something like that, you know it's a great community. The Gecks.
That would have been a great opportunity, Mike, to throw in the sound effect.
Yeah,
boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, so Twitter's very important, because you can follow the actual Gecko's Twitter, and then you can also follow similar like-minded people, similar investors, people who are invested in the project, and get relevant information through the Twitter feed. Now, even more so, I would say, is to stay active in the Discord, because you'll get live information in the Discord that you may not, you may be scrolling through Twitter and you may see a post that came up 3 or 4 hours ago, or maybe a day or two ago. But if you're in Discord and active, the developers are actually in Discord chatting with the Geckos,
the community.
The community. Yeah, they're actually in there chatting. So if you go in there with a serious question in Discord and say, hey, Draper, I'm wondering if this is something that's possible in the future, if he has the chance to get back to you, he'll try to answer your question right there. So you can actually chat with the developers of the project and also influence the project to an extent too, because you're actually giving your input.
Okay.
Which is what Cybergang is really good at, taking some of the input.
It
from,
really,
from
and
the community.
Cybergang, for those listening, that's the one project I mentioned that got me into, but that'll be a different episode.
That'll be for next week. But it goes for any project with a good community and a well-rounded project team. You can kind of get a grasp for it pretty quickly if this team is going to put forth what they promised, be very attentive and focused and passionate about the project.
Yeah.
And I got that feel from the Geckos early on. It aside from the art being cool and the project story being very cool, going into space, traveling through space with your Gecko team. Aside from that, I could tell that the community was very active, and the project team was really dedicated and really has a vision for this project. So that's something that you should look for.
That's the most, I would say, probably as someone who's a newcomer to this and someone like yourself who's been in this for some time now. Yeah. You'd probably categorize that based on what you've told me throughout these last few weeks. Yeah. You'd probably categorize that as one of the most important attributes now, is having a feel for the way the team is developing the project and also the community surrounding it.
Yeah, exactly. Because you can have a great project, a great idea, but if you don't have a community around it, then where's it going to go? You need people to invest in the project. You need buyers of the NFTs. Yeah. And there's 10,000 NFTs minting for 2 SOL a piece.
And there's only like 3,000 owners, specifically geckos, right? There's only like about 3,000. There's about,
there's about give or take 3,000 to 3,500 owners of geckos. So, you need those few thousand people to be passionate about the project, interested in the project, willing to maybe even invest more in the project. Yeah. And that's what drives the project and the value, because if you're getting in NFTs and you see, wow, this gecko community looks cool. They're active on Twitter. They all have these cool profile pictures. They're all talking about traveling to space. They got Concordians working on spaceships and stuff. Like that's pretty. I want to be a part of that.
It's they have a solid backup and storyline about how things get in the future with Everywhere Stars, minting, getting the whole team, and finding the 5th faction.
The 5th faction.
Okay, well, now that you bring it up.
Now that you bring up the 5th faction.
All right, so I don't want to digress too much, which is, let's talk now about it. So these are the geckos. This is what builds the community of the geckos. Mm-hmm. This is kind of the general overview. Now let's talk about the 5th faction. Before we even get that, I got to take a piss. Do you mind pausing all this, Mike?
Pause it. Piss break, beer break. BRB.
Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah. You just let us know when you're live.
It's live.
All right. right.
Yeah. So
fifth faction. Let's go back.
I think I want to tap into the fifth faction here. Now, early on in the project, they were teasing the project was teasing some lore about 4 factions of geckos and the possibility of reaching a 5th faction.
And when we say faction, you mean race of geckos? What are
Essentially a division of geckos. So if you want to,
like a tribe.
yeah,
Almost.
if you want to throw on the screen here for me, quick, I'll show you guys what I'm looking at here.
Okay, and what exactly are you looking at here?
So
hold on.
There's
okay. It's like it looks like it's a gecko website, and then there's just
so
definitions of each.
Yeah,
faction.
I'm on galacticgeckos.io here. This is their main website. So if you just scroll down a little bit on the homepage, you can actually see that the fate of the cosmos is in the hands of the geckos. This is pretty serious.
Yeah, this isn't. I never knew about this.
Like this isn't. This is no joke. And there's 4 factions of geckos. Targari, my personal favorite. Barada, Martu, Allura.
And they use different colors, I guess.
So they use different backgrounds to differentiate these. So
I personally
factions.
like Targari too.
We're talking factions.
We're talking factions. So I'm just gonna switch over to their Discord real quick to show you that they have a lore channel in their Discord where they tease lore every so often. You know, it started out, every day or two, they were teasing a little bit lore about there is a 5th faction of geckos.
Interesting.
So when you minted a gecko, it would be assigned.
But why are you so interested in this 5th faction? I mean, I'm not. It definitely stoked my curiosity. But why are we so interested in this 5th faction?
So when you minted your geckos, they would have certain attributes, and one of those attributes would be a faction.
Okay.
Each faction has, its own little talent, its own special thing that it's good at. And they were hinting over here in the Discord, they were hinting at an extinct 5th faction. Oh. Now, in order to access that 5th faction,
that's so interesting, actually.
It is pretty interesting, yeah, because it kind of had people going, huh? Oh, 5th faction?
So that was basically to get the attention of the people.
Well, yeah, that was definitely an attention grabber part of the lore itself, because it kind of drives people's curiosity and keeps them interested. Oh, what's this 5th faction about? How do I get the 5th faction, etc. So
Mike, let's go back to your question here. Because what is the I understand? Don't get me wrong, okay? The 5th faction has me completely. The 5th faction has me completely curious. And I'm ready to learn more.
Yeah,
but I just like what are they going to add to my 4 factions of geckos that I already have?
Well, funny you ask that.
Okay,
I got something just for you. So I'm gonna pull up the lore page here.
Go ahead, pull up the lore.
This is on the website. I'm gonna pull up the lore page here. You can see the Galactic Gecko Space Garage, the 5th faction. Now, obviously, I'm not going to read through all of this. I'm just going to give you a summary. Here is the 4 factions: Targari, Martu, Barada, Allura. And, looks like there's a 5th faction.
Okay.
Now, how do we access that? Now, each of your geckos will have an attribute assigned to them of what faction they're in. Okay. In order to access the Space Garage and work on your journey towards the 5th faction, make progress in this journey towards the 5th faction, you need to find a key to that garage.
Okay. Now this is getting interesting. Now there's a little bit more to it.
So rumor has it that the extinct 5th faction locked up the Space Garage and blasted the key into space.
Why would they do that?
We don't know exactly why they would do that or what their motive is. We just know that there's some tales of the fifth faction, that the fifth faction had existed, and that the crystal,
Okay.
aka the key to the garage, is in space, floating around, and you must find that in order to access the garage.
This is getting more curious as you tell it.
Yeah, so they actually they really release the lore in a way that it has your attention. It's enough info for you to follow the story, but they're not releasing a whole lot of info, so it kind of leaves you up to your own curiosity, and you can make your own predictions about it.
This is so. And do they take?
It's like you're speculating what's going on.
Exactly. Great word. You're basically you're speculating on what they may have in store for us next.
And so you, as a community member, do you have the opportunity to drive the story, or is the story already made and they're kind of already giving you little sneak peeks here?
Yeah. So the story is generally already drawn out. I believe that they have most of the story already I believe they have most of the story already laid out.
Okay. What part is community driven then? Any or?
Well, so the community doesn't actually dictate the way the story goes. They don't have a whole lot of say in which way the story goes.
Okay.
They can kind of what the community can do is obviously they can hype up the project and promote it and share it, and then they also kind of decide on the value of specific geckos, airdrops, specific traits. Like I'll pull up the armory here in a bit,
okay.
and I'll kind of show you what the community actually created based off just specific traits of geckos. The community actually created communities based off specific traits of the geckos. I'll pull that up here in a bit.
This is interesting that you say that, because you said that something that you just said really struck a chord with me, was that you said the community kind of drives the value in the geckos. It was my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, that these geckos have rarities attached to them, and that kind of drives the value. I guess that really doesn't have much of an impact then, as the community has deciding which geckos are most valuable.
Yeah, so I'll actually show you an example of that, because you're totally right. So what the geckos actually have here...
Please pull up something. Yeah,
can I pull up an armory?
Yeah.
Can I show them the armory?
Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So this is the Galactic Gecko armory. Now, when you're looking at the geckos, this is just the base body of a gecko.
Okay.
Now, what they have for the bodies are different rarities. So I'm just going to actually show you. I'm just going to show you the marketplace really quick, just to kind of quickly show you what some of these geckos look like.
Oh, please.
So here's the marketplace, and here's where you would go shopping if you were going to buy some geckos. But I'm just pulling this up just to show you what some of these look like. So you can see they're different. This guy looks pretty cool.
I like
He's
that
purple. This guy's got a helmet.
There's just different. And for those listening and not watching, there's just a very beautiful collection of geckos that Gig is showing us in Solana.
Yeah, and they have very, unique and distinct attributes.
Yeah.
And then
we
right
can
here...
see different, like items, stuff on the geckos besides just the color of the skin.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
You can
some
see...
of them have little guns in their heads. Some of them have little eyeballs that are popping out of their skulls. It's all weird, but I'm very much into this. Very much into this.
Those attributes that you see here, they're actually going to have their own rarities. So they're going to be more or less rare depending on how many are in the collection. So keep in mind, there's 10,000 geckos in the collection.
Okay.
So the most common bodies are going to be orange, brick red, light pink, and lime green.
Who the hell is selling? I'm sorry to use that language.
Oh, no.
Who the heck in the world is selling these geckos You can buy a gecko right now for like 10 Sol. Am I right? Who is in the world would value a gecko that low? That's what I don't understand.
Who would sell it?
Yeah.
Well, you know, you always get people in the market who need liquidity, want liquidity, or just they're not as interested in the project. You know?
I everything you showed me today. The only thing I want to do...
bullish. It's bullish.
I just want to beg and plead with my fiance and say, please, can I spend 6 to 7 to 8 grand and purchase a JPEG of this gecko? Yeah. So we're going to the space garage. We're going to go grab this spaceship, presumably, and drive into space and save the world from the cosmos. What they all describe. Why are these people selling these geckos for pennies on the dollar?
It's funny you asked that because I actually would not ever sell any of my geckos.
I wouldn't. I would never. I mean, personally, and this is to be clear with everyone, I don't want to think there's a conflict of interest. I don't have any geckos. Gig has the geckos, okay? But I'm a huge Concordian fan, okay? Yeah. I have been big on Concordian. We're going to get to them, but I've been big on Concordian since the beginning of this story.
And I mean, he's not going to sell his Concordian.
I will never sell. If you look at it, it's listed for $1 million because I don't want anyone buying it. And if they're going to buy for $1 million, guess what I'm going to do? Sweep the floor with the remaining Concordians.
Exactly. Well, that is one thing that people will do. They'll sell a more rare gecko to buy more geckos. So
that's a great strategy.
Some people have sold, like if I scroll down here for you guys to the rarest, this is the ultra body here. This is the neon green. If you have a neon green gecko, it actually gets you access to the neon citadel.
Oh, wow.
The citadel, I don't want to pull up too much info here, but if you see over here on my left, the citadel is actually its own Discord channel.
You can't even get in there unless you're neon.
Yeah, and I'm not going to even open it up for you guys because you don't have a neon.
So they can't even access.
So yes, you need to have a neon gecko to access the neon citadel, the information.
I need you to be honest with me for 1 second. And I don't. We spent a lot of time on this, and I really appreciate your time discussing this with me.
Yeah, go for it.
You've been just a great influence in this community. Do you have a neon gecko?
You know, believe it or not, I do have a neon gecko. I do.
Okay.
I do. And you guys this might be a little wow to you guys, but I actually minted a neon gecko.
Oh.
It was actually my first mint. Oh. So it's you get lucky sometimes. You get lucky sometimes.
You sound like that just young schoolgirl, just excited to have a nice dinner date with that varsity football player.
Johnny asked me out for dinner tonight.
Yeah, and you were so lucky to hit a home run with that one.
Beginner's luck. They say it. Some don't believe it, but it happens.
Okay, so you understand now. All right, you have the neon, so you really understand what I'm getting at is you understand the value of the different.
I understand the value. Yeah. So obviously this is the rarest body, ultra body. There's a limited amount. So there's only, I believe, 333 neon geckos out of the 10,000 collection. Wow. So there's only about
how many percent?
3%.
Oh my goodness.
So
those
is that
are
right?
the rarest.
Yeah,
is that right?
It's like 3, right? So
3.3.
3K out of 10 would be 30 and then 300.
Elementary maths for us guys today. Yeah. So so there's only 3% that have this body. So now if we go over to the marketplace,
I just got to interrupt you real quick.
Yeah.
Mike, how are you absorbing this information? Does this make sense? Like what?
Like are you into the geckos?
Yeah.
I'm into the geckos, to be honest.
Oh my god! Thank you.
Right.
I mean, I really like the idea of having like multiple options.
Mm-hmm. The attributes. Yeah, actually, if you want to move us over to the top of the screen, maybe I can show them some of these attributes. Beautiful. Wow. Thank you so. You're getting so good at this. Mike.
I know.
Thank you so much.
Oh, no problem.
He goes,
I think you're like a second.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
You can actually see here on the left we have the attributes. Now this is Solana art.
This is actually to make you filter a little bit more what your preferences are, right?
Yeah, you can actually filter. I mean, this is a steal.
I feel like
for 8 Sol. Look at this.
Sorry, I feel like we've been talking about this one bullet point for like 30
so long.
minutes. Yeah.
Should we?
The next one is airdrops and Concordians and the crystal. So let's try to let's speed this. Yeah, okay.
Let's let me go back.
So we're at the marketplace now, and
I'm just gonna quickly show them that the floor for geckos is 8 Sol.
God, it's a deal.
Now, if you switch the body over here to neon green, see the neon green floor, the cheapest neon right now I see on Solana is 61 Sol.
Oh my goodness.
So
if Sol is at 200, which it's not, but it's around there.
Give or take.
It's 12 grand.
Give or take.
Around 12 grand for
So
for
that's how tough it is to get your hands on one of these neons. And that's mainly from this being the only ultra body in the collection and only 3% of those.
That was a really good idea on that part.
Very good idea. Very great way to drive demand is to have multiple rarities and interesting rarities. I like the neon because it kind of gives me that CoinGecko vibe.
I was going to say that. It's reminiscent of me, at least, for the CoinGecko.
Yeah.
And Gig, before we continue on, I just do want to ask you, I've heard about the geckos. I've heard about this fifth faction. I'm totally in there. There's more to the lore, I think, than that. And personally, as a Concordian holder, I'd like it if we could maybe talk about the Concordians a little bit more and what the role is in the lore, if that's okay.
Yeah, so, Mike, if you don't mind, I'm going to bring the website back up for our viewers here because we kind of left off here and went on a little tangent. So essentially, you need a team of 4 factions to access this Enigma crystal, which I like I stated before was the key to the space garage.
It looks
right, because the project's called the Galactic Gecko Space Garage. So, the story kind of centers around this garage that the geckos are going to head to and kind of use to travel around the cosmos.
Okay.
So what the team did was they essentially told the community, you need one of each faction. So 4 geckos, one of each faction, will land you an Enigma crystal. This Enigma crystal was essentially to be claimed through their website. This ended up ultimately being an airdrop. So
okay, so they airdrop this crystal. What does the crystal do exactly?
So this crystal is basically your key to the space garage, and it's going to serve as your key to future lore drops, missions, a lot of what they have planned going forward. They haven't totally told us all the uses yet, but so far, if you had this crystal, it got you access to the space garage. So I'm just going to scroll down here.
Okay. You know what? And you knew more. So, but by you being involved with the community, you, I guess, were paying attention to the creators or the drivers of this project. Mm-hmm. They stated that not only is the Enigma crystal going to give you access to the space garage, which we'll get to that, I guess.
Yeah.
So what does access to the space garage mean? Number one for me, and then what? And then just to clarify, you found out that it also has other meanings by the creator of the project. It's not just the space garage, it's other things.
So I was able to follow this by staying active in Discord and on Twitter because they teased the lore. They teased that you need this Enigma crystal. They teased that there's a 5th faction that we're going to be heading towards, and you need the crystal to get access to the garage.
Okay.
So over here on their website, you can actually start up the machine when you have the 4 factions linked.
Oh, wow.
And
for those listening, he just pressed start on this machine with 4 of his unique geckos.
Yeah, so I'm on their website.
They're spinning right now.
You essentially you connect your wallet to their website. You link up your team of 4 geckos, and it spawns an Enigma crystal.
That's insane.
So the first thing this crystal was used for was opening the doors to the notorious space garage.
What happens when you get in there? Oh, this is where it takes a turn for the better. Okay. All right.
So we open the garage. What do we find? We find tiny robotic gecko-like beings,
AKA the Concordians.
The Concordians relentlessly working in this garage.
They look so good.
They look great. They look cool. And these Concordians ended up being another airdrop. So if you opened the garage, right, so you needed the 4 factions to get the crystal. The crystal was the key to the garage. You open the garage, Boom, there's Concordians in the garage.
Working relentlessly.
Tirelessly. I mean, literally, Tyler, I came home the other day from doing some work with you.
Yeah.
The Concordian was ironing my clothes, folding my sheets, made my bed.
And this is where I think people get confused, and I just want to clarify for everyone listening. You could imagine the Galactic Gecko Space Garage, the series or whatever this is going to be, the season, however they're going to end the season, how they're going to drive this. This is similar, and I've told this to you before. This is similar to like Loki. Have you ever seen Loki on Netflix? It's a Marvel series, but it's not about the main character of the series. It's a side series. I mean, it's a full series on the character Loki, but he's not the main character. He's actually a villain.
Okay.
But it's a side movie on him. It's a series on him.
Okay.
He's not the real big main event.
Okay.
Thor. He's known for the series in Thor. Thor, everyone knows Thor. He's the big head honcho. Concordians, they're the head honcho.
Yeah,
they came here to play.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're not speaking lies here. I mean, it says the Concordians control the universe. It says it right here.
Yeah.
So
listen. It just makes you wonder and want to speculate on what they're doing, because if they control the universe, if they've been working tirelessly for years, hundreds of years, correct?
Hundreds, could be thousands.
Oh my goodness!
I mean, we don't exactly know, but we know that these guys, they're not stopping.
No. They've been working. I mean, they don't know how to stop. And if they control the universe, let me ask you. Let me ask you something. And it might be a rhetorical question. I'm sorry if it sounds so naive.
Go for it. Go for it.
What would the Concordians possibly be working hundreds of years for in the space garage when they were locked out by the fifth faction? What could they possibly be building?
We can only speculate, but I mean, if they're trying to travel over to the fifth faction and get payback, they're going to have to build some high-end, fully customizable spaceships. That's all I can. That's the only thing that comes to mind.
Yeah, I honestly, for me, if I was in this universe and this thing is, I wouldn't want to be aside. I wouldn't want to be along anyone else's side, but a Concordians right now.
No, if I was lost in the cosmos and I needed to maneuver through the Milky Way and multiple galaxies, I'd need a Concordian.
There's no way around it.
There's no way around it.
Ands or buts.
There's no way around it. Who's going to build for you relentless? It's like Santa without the elves. He needs the elves, or nothing's going to happen.
It's a joke. It's a joke. Of course.
It's like you need it.
It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. I'm sorry. I don't want to digress. All right, so we have the fifth faction.
We have the fifth faction. That essentially sums up what the lore's been up to now. There has been some lore as of late that teases a Gecko City. I've heard people talk about Gecko tokens. Okay. This one gecko landed on this planet and was almost attacked. So we're starting to gather a little bit more and more information, and they're strategically releasing lore every few days, sometimes once a week even, to ultimately release what our mission is going to be. I think they're releasing information and pieces of the puzzle, pieces of the project. Yeah. We have geckos, we have crystals, we have a garage, we have Concordians building, we have a fifth faction, and we have geckos that are being hunted down.
So the future is bright and good for the geckos.
Future looks bright. Future looks good.
I'm wondering if the fifth faction is going to be an ally or an enemy. That I can only think about.
We don't know. I think that the latest lore they released was that a gecko got dropped off on this planet. He went into the woods, and somebody chucked a spear at him.
So you can only, from my point of view, that's an enemy-like.
That's aggressive.
Behavior. Yeah,
that is aggressive.
Yeah, that is not good. All right, well, Gig, I don't want to end you too soon, but I do want to ask you one last thing before we close.
Yeah.
So let's say I'm a newbie. I want to get into this project.
Yep.
What do I have to do to get into this?
Here's what I want to do. Mike, if you don't mind, one more time, bring my screen up here.
Okay.
Just give you guys a quick, if you want to get more information and check this out, head over to Twitter. Check out the Galactic Gecko Space Garage. It'll have a link to their website, and it'll have a link to their Discord.
Do they have a verified symbol or no?
On on
Twitter.
Twitter, no.
Scumbag Twitter.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
I mean, they're growing. They had about 19,000 followers when I started. They're almost up to 30,000 now. Check out the Twitter. Follow the Twitter. You know, you can scroll through here. You'll see some of the community. There's an event coming up in Miami where the geckos actually have their own lounge table area set up for gecko holders only. That's going to be pretty good.
Well, that sounds cool, but if you're a corny holder, but you'd probably get like triple that.
Yeah, I mean, you'd basically get VIP suites for every hotel on the strip, honestly.
Yeah, well,
so
you control the universe at that point.
So it's really whatever you want to do. But check out the Twitter. See what's going on. See some collabs. See some follow. See the community. You know, you can see the community here posting really cool pics of their Concordians. This is actually from Geck with Gig.
Okay.
If you want to check him out, you know, he has some cool stuff about the geckos. He releases, you know, some lore content, some holiday content on the geckos. No big deal.
I like that.
You know, if you're scrolling through Twitter, might as well check it out. No big deal.
Right.
You know, Geck with Gig. That's me. Check out the just a little nonchalant plug there.
Yeah.
And you know, you'll see a lot of the geckos following geckos. You'll see how cool the community is. You know, I mean, look. I mean, somebody painted a gecko.
Oh wow, it's almost as cool as the gecko we.
It's almost as cool as ours. Check that out.
All right, so and then as the project though, if I wanted to get involved and get lore and get airdrops, what do I need to do?
Yeah, so you'd have to. I would say from their Twitter, go to their Discord.
Okay.
You know, it'll pull up their Discord. You can join their Discord. You won't be able to access the Gecko Garage unless you're holding a gecko, but you can access pretty much everything else. You can check out the lore. They'll welcome you. You know, they'll give you the welcome. You know, you can get verified there. You can check out the lore.
Okay.
You can see the lore up to date. You can kind of follow. They even have an outer space chat for people who don't have geckos yet, but are like want to speculate on getting one.
Okay.
They have a chat there for.
It's just a whole community. You just share information each other so you can keep up.
Yeah.
With the whole project, you know.
Yeah.
Because you're investing money in this project, so you gotta keep up, keep tracking what's going on.
Exactly.
Check the market.
Exactly.
What's the next move?
Yeah.
You know how it works.
You know how it works.
Guys, I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. I'm bullish on the geckos. Love the geckos. I'm gonna be consistently posting gecko content on Twitter, and more coming for you guys here on YouTube on the NFT Crypto Crew. Guys, if you like what you saw, leave a comment on it. Leave a comment. Let us know what your favorite gecko is. Let me know if you like the lore. If you think more lore is coming up, hit me in the Discord at Gig.
If you have any, listen, if you guys have questions, hit us up. I just wanted to thanks for joining. Next week, we got Cyber Gang. Gig's going to run us through all of the Cyber Gang lore.
I'm going to run you guys through Cyber Gang. Don't worry. I'm almost as big a Cyber fan as a gecko fan.
That's hard.
But it's tough. It's almost impossible.
Yes. All right, folks. Mike, you want to send us home on this one or what?
Outro? You want to do a little outro?
Yeah.
You know, a little outro maybe.
Come on, Mike. Let's send us home.
Guys, thank you for watching the NFT Crypto Crew. You made it here for the very first podcast on the Galactic Geckos Space Garage. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned next week. We love crypto, baby. Bullish.
That should be our ending.
Bullish.
Yeah.
Perfect.